Shadows quivered along the pediatric ward's corridor, the stuttering fluorescent tube overhead threatening to burst in a spray of pale sparks. Sweat pooled at IBRAHIM Traoré's temples, salty beads sliding past the paper mask that disguised the sharp line of his jaw. The heat, thick as river mud, carried a punishing blend of bleach, iron, and spoiled milk. Somewhere ahead, a child coughed until the sound cracked into a wheeze, the metal springs of a cot whimpering in reply. He paused on the threshold, clutching a wrinkled prescription slip that read in looping cursive, amoxicillin, out of stock. Lotus blossoms were stamped in faded violet on the margins, a relic branding from some long-forgotten charity drive. The blossoms should have signified renewal. Instead, they looked bruised, petals snarled in bureaucratic neglect. A nurse hustled by with a limp toddler pressed to her chest. "Are you the father?" she asked, tilting her head, tone clipped. "Yes," IBRAHIM answered, forcing tremor into his voice. We need medicine." Before she could probe further, an orderly at the opposite end yelled for an oxygen tank, his voice ricocheting off chipped tiles. IBRAHIM stepped inside. The ward opened like a bleak warren. 2 rows of iron beds, sheets the color of dishwater, IV poles leaning like dying trees. From the far cot, a lullaby filtered through cracked lips, a mother humming even as fear chewed at every note. 3 days earlier, high noon in Ouagadougou had been a furnace. IBRAHIM, acting president, soldier, former logistics officer, had loosened his collar on the presidential balcony to catch a scarce breeze. A rusty shortwave radio crackled from the railing table. "Children turned away. No antibiotics for weeks," a caller sobbed on air. IBRAHIM's stomach folded into itself. The memory of his own mother dying in an underfunded clinic hit like a sucker punch. If the system can't save children, what good is leadership? That thought birthed the central conflict. The public hospital failing its youngest, and a leader who could no longer rely on reports polished for political comfort. At sunset, he ordered his protective detail to stand down, shaved his trademark mustache, donned patched trousers acquired from a street vendor, and rehearsed a new name, Musa Dio, itinerant mechanic. Night cloaked the city in diesel fumes when he rode pillion on a battered moped toward the southeastern district. The driver, bribed with 2 calabashes of sorghum beer, never looked back. At the gate, a bored guard demanded paperwork. IBRAHIM slid the lotus-stamped prescription forward. The guard barely glanced before waving him through. The system, he noted, was porous, where urgency should have been airtight. Now, under the ward's morbid glow, the truth towered over rumor. A girl with sunburned cheeks winced while a trainee nurse tried to start an IV for the 3rd time. Brackish water dripped from a corroded ceiling vent and pooled under cots, painting the floor in Rorschach blots. Each blot looked to IBRAHIM like a question. How many failures does it take before hope cracks? He crossed to the humming mother. "Her name?" he asked, dipping his head as any anxious father might. "Awa," she whispered, smoothing damp curls from the child's brow. "Her fever won't break." IBRAHIM pressed the back of his hand to Awa's skin. It blazed hotter than Sahel afternoon sand. The contact yanked him into a half-buried memory, his mother gasping for breath while nurses searched empty cabinets for inhalers that never arrived. He blinked the vision away, but the taste of helplessness lingered like ash on his tongue. Footsteps clacked behind him. Chief Nurse Kouyaté appeared, arms folded over a clipboard. Her gaze pierced the folds of his disguise. "And you are?" "Just a father," he said, lowering his eyes. She hesitated, suspicious, but an alarm from the neonatal unit stole her attention. She pivoted, barking orders as she went. IBRAHIM exhaled, palms damp. Against the far wall, a pile of cracked plastic toys lay forgotten. Atop the mound, a rubber lotus, its petals bleached bone white, stared back at him. He lifted it, fingers tracing scars on the vinyl surface. In that oddly tender moment, he made a silent oath. The lotus would bloom again, or he would tear the swamp apart until it did. Awa's heartbeat monitor emitted an erratic chirp. IBRAHIM looked up just as the overhead lights flickered, then failed, plunging the ward into semi-darkness. From somewhere outside, the muezzin's call to prayer rose, a wavering ribbon of sound threading through the building's cracked windows. The call carried promise. Dawn would come, even to places starved of light. IBRAHIM squared his shoulders and stepped deeper into the gloom, unaware that by week's end the country would witness a reckoning broadcast live to millions. Humidity clung to every surface, making the walls sweat like overworked lungs. Ibrahim followed a cart laden with chipped bedpans to the back corner where supply cabinets should have stood sentinel. Instead, his flashlight swept over empty metal racks save for dust dunes and the husks of dead beetles. "Looking for something, Baba?" A boy of 11 limped up, IV trailing from his wrist. Ibrahim knelt. "I'm searching for medicine." The boy shrugged, a gesture too resigned for childhood. "We mostly get prayer." Motion at his periphery, Nurse Kuyate returned, flanked by 2 porters. She addressed the boy first. "Seydou, back to bed. Now." The boy obeyed, drag-stepping across the floor. Turning on Ibrahim, she said, "Follow me. There's an issue with your paperwork." They entered her cramped office. Paint peeled in strips, revealing older layers the color of nicotine. She shut the door. "You don't belong here," she hissed, soft enough for walls only. "Your hands, calloused but too steady. Your accent, Northern Military Academy, not roadside mechanic." Ibrahim opened his mouth, but she raised a palm. "Save it. I don't care who you are if you can help." She yanked a drawer, slapping a thin ledger onto the desk. "Weekly inventory. See the blank columns? Deliveries that never arrive. Rumor says the trucks are rerouted. Supplies sold across the border." He flipped pages, fury building. "Why hasn't anyone reported this?" Her laugh was a brittle twig. "We have. Reports vanish, or inspectors change their findings after private meetings." Thunder rumbled. No, not thunder, a hospital gurney crashing into a jammed elevator. Kuyate winced. "Come. Awa's oxygen is failing." Back in the ward, a cluster had formed around the little girl. Her lips were blueberry blue as the cracked valve on the cylinder hissed uselessly. Ibrahim snatched a multi-tool from his boot, twisting until metal squealed and a thin gasp of oxygen resumed. Awa's chest fluttered like a trapped finch. The mother sobbed a thank you laced with exhaustion. Trainee Dr. Yarrow arrived, spectacles fogged. "Who fixed the valve?" "He did," Kuyate said, "and he's about to see more." She led them through a service stairwell that reeked of mold to a windowless archive room. A single bulb illuminated towers of paperwork. "Every delivery, every invoice," she said. "Find the rot." Hours passed. Sweat trickled down Ibrahim's spine as he scanned invoices stamped with the lotus emblem. Quantities inflated, signatures forged. For each drug listed, a side note, "Patient mortality rise" scribbled in Kuyate's pen. Yarrow whistled low. "Looks like millions siphoned." Sirens pierced the silence. A voice on the PA crackled. "Code red, electrical fire in generator room." Smoke wormed beneath the door. Yarrow cursed. "If the genset goes, the ventilators go." They dashed to sub-level corridors where acrid smoke churned. Orderlies shoved incubators toward the ramp, monitors shrieking. Ibrahim grabbed a fire blanket, smothering sparks leaping from a junction box. The heat singed arm hairs, filling his nostrils with burnt plastic. At last, the sprinkler system coughed to life. Water rained, washing black soot into puddles underfoot. Children cried, mothers prayed. Amid chaos, Ibrahim glimpsed the lotus emblem on the sprinkler's manufacturer plate, a final irony. The same symbol slapped onto corrupt invoices was also etched on the mechanism saving these lives. Outside, evacuees gathered on the cracked asphalt courtyard. Dawn cracked open the horizon, first motif repeating, soft pink light kissing smoke plumes. Camera crews arrived nearly as fast as ambulances. A black SUV with government plates fishtailed to a stop, disgorging Deputy Health Minister Diabate and a cadre of flunkies. He smoothed his suit, pinning a benevolent smile for press lenses. "Situation under control," he announced, ignoring the convulsing child wheeled past his polished shoes. Ibrahim felt bile rise. "Control?" Yarrow nudged him. "Press hunger is your friend. Show them." "Not yet," Ibrahim muttered. "Evidence first." Lightning revealed by day, reports, signatures, photos. He needed consolidation, confirmation. He also needed the public eye, but in the right dose, at the right moment. Timing could pry open doors that guns couldn't. A nurse shrieked. Awa had seized. Her backup oxygen cylinder sat empty. Ibrahim sprinted to the field triage tent. He seized an unopened delivery crate, pried it with the multi-tool. Inside lay theater gowns, luxury cotton, embroidered with the lotus seal, not oxygen regulators. Rage hammered his ribs. He tore a strip of the gown, soaked it in melting ice from a cooler, and laid it across Awa's forehead while Yarrow hustled for emergency tanks. The cameras, hungry for spectacle, tracked him. Lenses drank in the improvised care, the wasted cargo of vanity gowns. That, he realized, was fine. Let the public see the wound. They would demand the surgeon's knife. Night reclaimed the skies, sifting moonlight through drifting soot like pale flour through a sieve. Portable flood lamps cast jittery halos around the triage perimeter, each lamp buzzing with a colony of moths. Somewhere past the ambulance line, generators sputtered to life, coughing black exhaust. Ibrahim huddled with Kouyaté and Yarrow inside an unused radiology wing commandeered as war room. They spread documents across a light box. The glow sharpened red stamps, exposing ghost signatures identical to the minister's private secretary's hand. "Look at these delivery routes," Yarrow whispered, tracing a pencil from Ouagadougou into Mali. "They divert south, vanish, then reappear empty at customs." Kouyaté tapped another sheet. "Prices tripled between warehouse and hospital. Somebody launders the profit through shell NGOs." A faint clatter startled them. Seydou, the limping boy, appeared carrying a dented thermos. "For you," he said, offering baobab tea. His eyes shone with something fierce, almost adult. "Mama says heroes need tea." Ibrahim accepted, throat tightening. "We are not heroes yet." Seydou shook his head. "Then hurry." He shuffled away, determination propping each step. Maps, invoices, witness statements, they copied everything to a USB drive. Another to a cloud server Yarrow's cousin ran in Dakar. Digital insurance. Past midnight, Ibrahim left to walk the courtyard's perimeter. Each inhalation scraped his lungs. The air tasted of cinders and the sour tang of things long spoiled. Yet through an alcove he caught laughter, makeshift shelter where displaced patients watched a volunteer clown twist balloons into lotus flowers. Even in despair, children reached out to catch the shapes, giggling when they popped. Motif of the lotus surfaced once more, fragile, absurd, relentless. He sat on a low wall and closed his eyes. Memory unspooled. His first deployment, riding an APC across scorched scrubland, delivering sacks of millet to a village razed by bandits. Women had painted lotus blossoms on shattered wells, praying for water to return. He had promised them a pump. Bureaucracy delayed, bandits returned, dreams dried to dust. Tonight, among these cots and cracked valves, the same pattern threatened to repeat. Footfalls approached. Kouyaté. She lowered herself beside him, murmured, "They will bury this, you know. They'll say the fire destroyed the records. Not if the world is already watching." She studied the horizon where embers glowed. "Then call the world." First light bled into the sky, an hourglass tipping. Ibrahim radioed a trusted aide, commandeer state TV satellite feed at 20 Huntois. "Tell the operator it's a matter of national security." The aide gulped audibly through static. "Understood, Colonel." Back in the ward, Awa slept, fever ebbing. Her mother clutched Ibrahim's sleeve. "Whatever you are trying to do, don't stop." Within the hour, trucks bearing the NGO logo Lotus Relief rolled up, roofs bristling with armed escorts. The head of logistics, a sharp-suited man named Dabere, presented paperwork claiming the gowns were legitimate emergency stock. Ibrahim, voice rough with disbelief, asked, "Where are the antibiotics?" Dabure's smile slid. "Border complications." "Which border?" The man adjusted his cufflink, revealing a gold lotus emblem. "You wouldn't understand the complexities." Ibrahim understood enough. The emblem had become a shield for thieves. He signaled a policeman, quietly ordering the trucks impounded. Dabire protested until cameras swiveled. Then he retreated, phone pressed to ear. Throughout the day, volunteers scoured storerooms, finding expired vials buried under political campaign banners. Yarrow administered what little remained, rationing doses by weight. Still, 2 infants coded. CPR thumped tiny chests, while Ibrahim steadied sobbing nurses. None of it made the evening news. Producers were busy preparing the minister's polished statement. At 1952, an engineer patched Ibrahim's laptop into the abandoned conference hall projector, beaming a test pattern onto a peeling wall. He inhaled, feeling the old rush of pre-mission anticipation. Only this time, the objective was not to seize a hill or hold a bridge, but to hold a mirror. 1959. Static filled national screens. 20 Honki. Image cleared to reveal Ibrahim's face half-lit, files clutched against his chest. He opened with a sentence destined for history textbooks. "The lotus flower only blooms where mud is deepest. Tonight I stand in that mud so you can smell its stench." He named no individuals, only crimes. Rerouted convoys, falsified signatures, profiteering off dying children. Behind him, Yarrow displayed invoice after invoice, Lotus Relief logo glaring under fluorescent glare. Social feeds erupted. The hashtag had "Bloom or Bleed" shot skyward. Across town in a walled compound, Deputy Minister Diabaté hurled a tumbler at his television. He ordered Ibrahim arrested for sedition and theft of classified documents. Patrol cars screamed toward the hospital, tires shrieking on cobblestone. Inside the conference hall, Ibrahim expected doors kicked in. Instead, a wave of white coats and mothers formed a blockade. Kouyaté stood at the front, eyes blazing. "You'll arrest us all," she told the police commander, who balked at the optics of manhandling nurses on live feeds. Police retreated, momentarily. The standoff bought precious hours. Ibrahim transmitted backups to international press. An NGO whistleblower in Geneva confirmed Lotus Relief's shell status. Money trails leapt continents, landing in privately held accounts. Midnight thunderheads rolled over the capital. A lone lightning fork struck the aging transformer feeding the hospital. Lights died. Generators, still damaged, refused ignition. Yarrow cursed. Ventilators hiccuped. Ibrahim sprinted to maintenance, wrenching at lever arms until a backup diesel coughed to life, a heartbeat louder than the storm. The ward exhaled. But outside, riot police assembled, shields gleaming in strobe flashes. Ibrahim slid into the janitor's tunnel with Yarrow and Kouyaté, clutching the master USB. Concrete walls sweated moisture, smell of rust and old urine mixing with ozone. "You can still walk away," he told them. Yarrow snorted. "And waste all this adrenaline?" Kouyaté smiled grimly. "We've already bled. Time to bloom." The drainage tunnel opened behind an abandoned pharmacy opposite the hospital. They emerged under flickering street lamps, rain carving silver stitches in the dark. In the pharmacy's smashed window, a forgotten TV set glowed, their broadcast looping, subtitles in French and English added by unknown allies. Yarrow laughed through exhaustion. "We're viral." Ibrahim did not slow. "Viral doesn't guarantee change." They commandeered a battered pickup to the National Broadcast Center, a concrete monolith nicknamed the Hive. On the ride, thunder rattled hubcaps, and the second repeating motif, dawn's first light, felt distant. Yet inside the cab's cracked windshield, Ibrahim imagined the rosy line of future sunrise. At the gate, guards hesitated, recognizing the colonel's eyes even under grime. One saluted. Another raised the barrier. No bullets, no debate. Newsroom staff, smelling story gold, escorted them past toppled potted plants to Control Room B. Satellite links pulsed. An anchor whispered, "We kept your feed live. Ratings are record." Ibrahim uploaded the master files. Screens filled with procurement spreadsheets, GPS tracks, offshore banking ledgers, and an overhead drone shot of a convoy diverting into the desert at night. Gasps rippled through the booth. "Run it across every platform," he ordered, "and archive in 5 separate clouds." Producers complied because revolution was trending and they refused to miss the scoop. Yet Power's old guard was not silent. Cell towers choked with directives from Diabaté's office instructing sensors to pull the plug. Engineers rebelled, forwarding the commands to Ibrahim's team. The hypocrisy played out in real time, a snake devouring its tail on split screens. By 0300, thousands massed outside the hospital brandishing Lotus lanterns. They'd folded colored paper around phone torches. Drone footage of the glow resembled a slow-opening blossom. The third motif, light reclaiming darkness, manifested in flesh and pixels. Deputy Minister Diabaté tried a last gambit. He announced the immediate suspension of hospital staff, pending investigation into arson. The crowd roared, pelting his convoy with empty IV bags flung like grotesque snowballs. In that chaos, Awa's mother stepped forward, holding her child high. Under camera lights, the girl's eyes shone clear, fever broken. "My daughter lives because strangers cared," the mother cried. "Who among you cared when the shelves were empty?" Her voice cracked something primal. Riot shields lowered. An officer removed his helmet, whispered an apology, and joined the crowd. Others followed. By dawn, only Diabaté's armored SUV remained, windows up, engine idling like a frightened beast. Inside the hive, Yarrow slumped against a console. "The system can't reabsorb this," he said. "It will mutate," Ibrahim replied. "That's why reform must be perpetual." Police radio chatter confirmed arrests at Lotus Relief's warehouse. Crates of antibiotics stamped for export were seized. International donors froze accounts. In Geneva, the organization's director resigned live on air. Then the unexpected. the interim prime minister phoned Ibrahim. The line crackled with fatigue. "Colonel, the nation awakens. We need your plan." Ibrahim's mind flashed through logistic grids, training rosters, and budget tables, but he answered simply, "Begin with the children. Heal them. We heal ourselves." Sunrise at last. Clouds peeled back, washing the capital in apricot gold. Streets once gray now gleamed as if lacquered. The crowd outside the hospital erupted into song, an old folk anthem about rivers flooding fields. For the first time, Ibrahim permitted hope to settle on his shoulders. Still heavy, but bearable. 40 days later, a new sign shone above freshly painted doors. Lotus Children's Health and Transformation Center. Ivory letters on cobalt blue, flanked by 2 stainless steel lotus emblems. Cracks still zigzagged through the facade, souvenirs of fire and neglect, but a citrus-sharp scent of wet plaster signaled rebirth. Opening day pageantry swelled along the boulevard. Brass bands blasted high-life tunes, vendors sold pink icing buns shaped like lotus buds, and a banner stretched across power poles. "Bloom where you are planted." Yet Ibrahim Traoré lingered at the edge in plain fatigues, avoiding dignitary handshakes. Yarrow located him near a jacaranda tree raining lilac petals. "Cabinet's waiting for your speech." "Words are cheap," Ibrahim muttered. "Sometimes they buy time for action," Yarrow countered, thrusting a note card into Ibrahim's hand. Inside the renovated ward, pastel walls glowed lime green, windows widened to drink in light. New beds, powder blue steel, mattresses thick as bakery loaves, lined up like orderly sentences. Oxygen outlets winked green. Nurses in teal uniforms moved with brisk confidence. Awa sat propped on pillows, sipping mango juice. She wore a paper bracelet printed with tiny lotus icons. When she spotted Ibrahim, she raised her cup in solemn salute. "The sun came back," she announced. "It never truly left," he replied, ruffling her now rosy cheeks. Chief Nurse Kuyate bustled over, brand new tablet in hand. "Electronic inventory," she declared, tapping the screen. "If one vial vanishes, alarms sing." She winked. Ibrahim scanned the corridor. Every door bore transparent plaques listing maximum occupancy, last sanitation date, responsible staffer. Accountability chiseled in acrylic. At noon, he faced the crowd from a modest podium. Cameras rolled, lenses clean of smudges. He inhaled the faint perfume of fresh paint and hospital soap. "6 weeks ago," he began, "this building burned not from fire alone, but from the spark of indifference. Children lay in beds of rust while greed feasted. Yet even in the smoke, we saw lanterns, your lanterns, glowing like lotus blooms. You refused darkness." Applause climbed the scaffolding of the half-finished annex. Students waving clinic volunteer forms cheered alongside elderly grandmothers brandishing wooden spoons in support. "We rebuild more than walls," he continued. "We rebuild the covenant that no child's pulse is collateral for profit." He signaled behind him. Screens flicked on, broadcasting the center's open-source budget portal. Receipts scrolled in real time. The crowd gasped, then applauded harder. A journalist shouted, "Colonel, will this model spread?" "It must," Ibrahim said. "Hospitals, schools, prisons, every place where tomorrow is shaped." In the VIP tent, Deputy Minister Diabate's chair sat conspicuously empty. He awaited trial for embezzlement. His absence was another kind of presence, a hollow that warned future opportunists. Ceremony concluded, Ibrahim slipped away to the courtyard garden where volunteers had dug a shallow pond. Real lotus plants, gifted from monks in Bobo Dioulasso, floated, leaves wide as dinner plates, buds still closed. He knelt, fingertips grazing cool water. Reflections wavered. Sky, hospital roof, his own weary face. Behind him, Seydou limped up, now sporting a bright orthopedic boot. He handed Ibrahim a drawing. Stick figure nurses, a massive lotus, a small boy holding a wrench. "That's you," Seydou exclaimed, proud. "I never had such fine muscles," Ibrahim teased, but his voice shook. He folded the picture, tucking it into his pocket like a promise. As afternoon faded, violet thunderheads loitered on the horizon yet held their reign. Awa's mother approached, carrying trays of ginger biscuits she'd baked in celebration. She pressed one into Ibrahim's palm. "Official hospitals seldom smell of ginger," she said, smiling. "May this one always break the rules." He bit into the biscuit. Heat of fresh spice bloomed across his tongue, anchoring him to the present rather than the battles still ahead. Dusk crept in, bringing street lamps alive. Their amber circles rippled across the pond where, at last, the first lotus opened. Petals unfurled pale pink, tips blushed flame as they caught light. Gasps rose from gathered staff. Phones clicked. Ibrahim remained silent, watching the slow birth. Transformation is never gentle, he mused. It tears, scalds, then mends in strange new shapes. Yarrow appeared, coat flapping in the breeze. "We start audits in Kudugu tomorrow," he reminded. Ibrahim stood, joints protesting. "Pack light," he said, "but bring plenty of lanterns." They walked toward the gate where a repaired ambulance, its siren newly calibrated, its logo updated with a stylized lotus, waited to ferry them north. Behind them the hospital windows glowed, not with fire this time, but with energy-saving bulbs donated by a regional solar startup thrilled to join the wave. From open bays rolled the sound of children's laughter, unbroken by coughing fits. Above, the first star pricked the sky.